At the School of Seven Flames, there was a garden where no one ever felt like rushing or making noise. It lay beyond a round archway of pale stone, where the air always smelled of mint, honey, and something else, something that brought to mind warm and gentle memories. In this garden grew star flowers, small and delicate, with petals like glowing little droplets. They did not bloom from sunlight or rain the way ordinary flowers do. They bloomed from kind and heartfelt words. That morning, Luna, Tim, and Flin came to the garden together with Miss Solveyg, and all of them noticed at once that something was wrong. The flower beds, which usually shimmered with pink, golden, and pale blue sparks, now stood almost dim. The little leaves were alive and green, but the star flowers themselves wouldn't unfurl. They held their petals tightly shut like tiny clasped hands. "Yesterday evening the garden nearly stopped glowing," said Mrs. Solveyg, "and that means it isn't water it's missing." "Then what?" Flin asked at once. Mrs. Solveyg touched one of the unopened blooms. "Genuine kindness. Not politeness for the sake of it, not pretty words, but words that carry real warmth." Luna blinked in surprise. Could that really be so hard? "That's easy," Luna exclaimed. "We'll fix everything right now." She ran up to the first flower bed and said quickly, "You are very beautiful flowers, the most beautiful, simply wonderful." Nothing happened. Flin crouched down and said solemnly, "Oh, bright and lovely flowers, please bloom, for we are in such a hurry." One petal barely trembled, and then closed tight again. Tim carefully added, "Please, bloom." But that didn't help either. Luna frowned. "But we said kind words." Mrs. Solveyg gently shook her head. "You said the right words, but the garden hears more than just words. It hears the heart they came from." The children fell silent. The garden grew so quiet that you could hear a tiny glowing drop of dew creeping along a leaf. "But how do you say it truly?" Tim asked softly. "First, you have to really notice something good," answered Mrs. Solveyg. "Not make it up. See it." She suggested they wander through the garden and look carefully at everything around them, not to search for pretty phrases, but to search for what they genuinely wanted to call beautiful. Luna walked along the path between the soft, dim flowers. At first, she felt just a little bit awkward. She was used to speaking quickly, brightly, full of life, but here the garden seemed to ask for something else entirely. Stillness, attentiveness, and truth. By the little pond, Luna noticed a single slender flower leaning almost all the way down to the water. It hadn't bloomed yet, but it stood straight and steady, even as a cool breeze blew all around it. Luna crouched down and looked closely. "You're very brave," she whispered. "The wind is blowing here, and yet you don't break." The flower glowed ever so faintly from within. Luna froze in wonder. Not brightly, not all at once, but it glowed. On the other side of the garden, Flin suddenly cried out, "Something worked for me, too." Tim turned around, and they watched as a tiny golden spark flared above one of the flowers. The garden was beginning to answer, but only when the words were true. "What did you say?" Luna asked, running up to Flin. Flin scratched the back of his head. "I didn't say anything pretty. I just noticed that this flower grows right next to the weeds and still reaches toward the light. And I like that." Tim also knelt down beside another flower bed. He was quiet for a long time, and then said very softly, "You have such tiny petals, but you don't hide behind the bigger ones." The unopened blue flower trembled and breathed out a little light, then opened one petal. Luna felt a warm joy spreading through her chest. The garden didn't want flattery. It wanted to be truly seen for its goodness. But just at that moment, the younger students came into the garden, and everything got muddled again. Seeing that the flowers responded to words, they began shouting all at once, "You're the best, the sweetest, the most wonderful in the whole world. Bloom faster." From all those loud, hurried voices, a faint shimmer of glowing dust rose into the air, and the flowers grew quiet once more. Some even closed the very petals they had only just begun to open. Luna glanced back at Mrs. Solveyg, her eyes wide with worry. "Did we ruin everything again?" "Not yet," she replied. "But it is hard for the garden to hear sincerity when there is too much noise all around." Luna suddenly understood what she had to do. She stepped up onto a small stone by the arch and said loudly but calmly, "Wait! The garden doesn't like it when you simply say something pretty to it. You have to say something real." The younger children fell quiet. "Don't make things up," Luna continued. "Just find something good in the flower, something you truly see." A little boy walked up to a silvery flower and said, a little uncertainly, "You look like a little star that isn't afraid of the morning." The flower softly began to glow, and then everyone around seemed to understand the rule. The garden grew quieter, warmer, more gentle. Tim walked up to the flower bed by the wall, where the smallest flowers grew. "It's easy to overlook you," he said, "but without you, the garden would feel emptier." 3 tiny star-shaped buds opened all at once. Flin, without any jokes this time, turned to the tall golden flower. "You don't block the light from others even though you could. You leave the sunshine for them." The golden flower opened so wide that little sparks showered through the air. Luna noticed the dimmest flower of all beside the path. It was tiny, almost invisible, but it held on to the earth with quiet stubbornness. "You aren't bright," Luna said honestly. "But there's such a calm goodness in you that standing near you makes me want to breathe more slowly." And that flower suddenly glowed the most gently of all. Gradually, the whole garden began to come alive. Where only that morning a quiet shadow had stood, waves of rose, blue, gold, and silver light now rolled softly through the air. The star flowers opened their petals one by one, as though they were smiling. The air grew warmer and sweeter, rich with the scent of honey, and even the stone arch above the entrance lit up with a gentle pattern. The younger pupils were no longer shouting. They moved between the flower beds slowly and carefully, as if they had suddenly begun to see what they had always walked right past. Mrs. Solveyg looked at the children with quiet joy. "Do you see?" she said softly. "Kind words don't force things to bloom. They simply help another feel that they have truly been noticed." When the last buds opened, Mrs. Solveyg asked everyone to sit down right on the warm stone beside the flower beds. "What was the hardest thing today?" she asked. "Not making up pretty words," Flin said straight away. "And seeing something real," Tim added. Luna nodded. "And also, saying things not to fix everything quickly, but so that someone could truly feel the warmth." Mrs. Solveyg smiled. "That is exactly why kindness is so powerful. It isn't always loud, and it isn't always bright, but it is almost always precise. It finds its way right to the place where someone was missing a little light." In the evening, Luna returned to the garden alone one more time. The flowers glowed softly in the twilight, and it seemed as though the earth beneath them was breathing with a gentle golden light. Moklik sat on her shoulder, watching carefully as one tiny star flower slowly turned toward the school window. Luna crouched down beside it and smiled. "You didn't rush to bloom today," she whispered, "and still, you turned out beautiful." The flower shimmered back at her, trembling ever so slightly. Luna understood. Kind words are not decoration. They are the light you give to another when you truly see something good in them. And perhaps that is why they have the power to open not only flowers, but hearts as well.